All right, y'all. What's good? Yeah. Welcome back to the Onyx Report, where we, as Black male justice advocates, uplift Black men and boys using critical analysis. Hope everybody is well. Apologize about the unpredictable times I've been going live lately. A lot of it this semester. There we go. This semester is a little wonky because I have a new teaching schedule. As a matter of fact, tonight I have to have a hard stop at 6 p.m. because I now teach a 6 p.m. course Mondays and Wednesdays. So we're going to go until 6 and go from there. But I hope everybody's well. Shout out to Barry. Shout out to Clutch and Stick. What's going on? Good to see you. Hakeem. Brother Damon, what's up? Hope you're well. Raheem, what's going on? Right. Got Blood Crow in the building. What's up, Kay? Got Kiel in there. What's going on? Like, share, subscribe, join, and donate. Support the channel if you will. You can see the options on the screen on how to do so. Do that with the super chat here on YouTube. You can do it with the Venmo, the PayPal. Number of options right there. What is this? It's so weird. Hold on. Oh, great. That is okay. Sorry. And then, of course, there's the Patreon where you can support all the endeavors that I'm engaged in. You can support the Onyx Report right here on YouTube. You can support the Institute for Black Male Studies, which you just saw a commercial for some of the merchandise for. You can also support the Onyx Network, which is the TV channel that you can find pretty easily. If that is something you are interested in checking out and supporting, please make sure you do so. You can download it on iPhone, Android, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. It's called the Onyx Network. And, you can check out what's going on with us, see the material we're putting out, stuff we're doing on TV, and you can recommend it. So please make sure that you support what we're doing. So we're going to jump in kind of hard. And here's the thing. I do want people to come up because what we're going to do is we're going to review about a 16-minute video or so that I would definitely like to get other people's feedback on. Shout out to Barry Little. Appreciate that tuition drop, as he calls it. Thanks for the support. Clutch says, thanks for the content, Doc. If you have to get it in at 3 a.m., it is what it is. We do what we can when we can. Real talk. We have the greatest infrastructure in the world standing against us. Hey, appreciate that support. And you're right. We got to get it in when we got to get it in. So I definitely wanted to hit you guys with something because I know I haven't done a lot this week. It's been kind of crazy. I'm actually sitting on 2 hiring committees, trying to hire 2 positions for Africana Studies here at Fresno State. And man, that's an experience unto itself. I might have to find a way to talk to y'all about. But anyway, for the moment, I want to start with an acknowledgement. Now, this is actually a couple of years old, but I'm just now seeing it. And so even though it's a few years old, I want to support the brother here who has done his thing. So this is on ebony.com, right? It says, boy 14 becomes youngest to graduate from Texas Christian College. It's dated in 2018. But the thing to keep in mind is, if this young man graduated 5 years ago, that means he graduated college 5 years ago and he's 19. You know what I mean? So that's still to be commended. But it reads, a 14-year-old boy has become the youngest person to graduate from Texas Christian College. But he reports Carson Huey Yu was among more than 2,000 students who received their degree at the school, which is located in Fort Worth. He also minored in Chinese and mathematics. Huey Yu, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, may have made history, but to him, he's simply a normal dude and no different from his peers. All in all, he's a genius despite shying away from the label. As for what's next, Huey Yu already has his eyes set on graduate school, with quantum mechanics possibly being in his future. Outstanding. So shout out to this young man. If you want to look him up further and see what he's into, absolutely welcome to. Feel free to share in the comments. I'm not going to have time to go any further into this, but I just wanted to tip my hat, so to speak, to this young man, because this is what's up, and this is part of, even though I didn't officially introduce it as such, but we have a series that we've had for the last 3 years here on the Onyx Report called the Sacred Black Masculine. And we talk about Black men and boys that are doing something notable, and it's organic. It depends on what runs across my desk and when. So it doesn't matter to me if it's old, doesn't matter to me if it just happened today. Either way, we celebrate Black men and boys over here. And so shout out to this young man, right? Straight up. So I'm happy to see it. But today we're also going to talk about something pretty specific. Now, because of the nature of the sound issues that tend to plague my show, what I'm going to need y'all to do is we're going to play a clip, and I want to see if you guys can hear it. so we can make sure that the sound is working. This is police footage that we're going to go through. I'm going to play just a few, about 5 seconds or so. I want to see if you guys can hear it. Give me a 1 if you can hear it. Give me a 2 if you can't. Let me go ahead and turn this off. And then tell me if you guys can hear this. Okay. Could you guys hear that at all? Give me a 1 if you heard it. Give me a 2 if you could not. It was just a few seconds. Let's see. Okay, so Interlight Radio says they can hear it. And by the way, I forgot to mention, I am broadcasting on Interlight Radio tonight, as well as Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So shout out to everybody listening from all those different sources. Yeah, so it says you guys cannot hear it. Interesting. All right. These are the kind of things that we live for. Great. So got 2 other things we can try. And we're gonna make it work one way or the other. Y'all know how it is. So Interlight can hear it, and you guys can't. Let me check something. Yeah, everything is pointing in the right direction, but for some reason it's not coming across. So let me see if I can play it. You know what? Hold on. Before I try it that way, let's see if I can get stop the screen share. Let's see if it'll let me play the video file through here. Make this thing work for me once for once.
On November 26th, 2022.
Okay, could anybody hear that? Salute, Great I9. What's going on? Roaring Sun, what's happening? Did anybody hear that few seconds I just played? Okay, again, Interlight could. Give me a 1 if you guys heard it. 2 if you did not. All right, now we got some 1s. All right, so we're in the house. So what am I playing here? Well, this came across my desk a little while ago. And what's up, Stylus? I see you in there. What's going on? The video is entitled "Woman Tells Cop to Hurry Up Before He Discovers Her Warrant." Now, really, what spawned this as I watched this video was really this kind of question about how we're treated, right? And this is by police officers. But the interesting thing about it is these are probably some of the nicest damn cops I've ever seen in my life. I wanted to be mad. I was waiting to be mad, but every time I watched this shit, I was like, this is the nicest cops in the world. You know, these aren't the cops that I run into. These aren't the cops that I've seen on videos, but these are the nicest cops I've ever seen. And in this particular scenario, you have a young woman who is going through some things, apparently, and ends up kind of having this encounter with the police, right? And in this encounter, there's a point where she's yelling at him, she's arguing with him, and Cole drives away at a certain point after being stopped. So I want to have a conversation. And again, I want to invite anybody who wants to have a dialogue, wants to look at this video, comment on it. But as we're just going to stop and comment as we go. And if nobody comes up, I'll just do it myself. But the point I want to get at is I want to raise the question. And there's 2 concepts that I've talked about in regard to this that I'm really kind of meditating on. So, I'll start and you guys can just kind of see what's going on. So let me go. All right, here we go.
An officer was
Okay, wait a minute. Okay. What is going on? Did the sound go out? What the hell is happening? Hold on. All right. Okay. I'm not sure what's happening, but all right, let's try. Can you guys?
on patrol when he observed a vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Due to the vehicle traveling 42 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone, the officer initiated a traffic stop. The driver was identified as 22-year-old Shala Jordan.
Can you put down this window? I always go to this side, just so I'm out of the road. But, so the reason I'm stopping is just for speed, because West Ave is 25 and you were going about 42.
She stated her speedometer was broken and believed she was only going 5 miles per hour over the speed limit.
That says you're going 25?
Yeah, I got this about 5 years ago, so...
I gotcha. Yeah, so, I mean, I just saw you, basically saw you moving what I thought was a high rate. I gotcha. You have your license proof insurance on you? Alright, I gotcha. And then where are you coming from today? GSP. What's GS? I'm sorry. What's GSP?
GSP is George Street Park.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, yeah. Stressful night.
Yeah, I'm just trying to...
I understand. Do you have just proof insurance for the car? And then, so I do smell some toxin coming from the car. Not super strong. Yeah, I gotcha.
I'm trying to stay up.
So just so far, we're literally only a few seconds in. You haven't even seen anybody's face really, right? So there's two things that's happened. She's being pulled over for going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. And he says he smells intoxicants, which she's suggesting were poured on the floor, and that's what he can smell. I'm just curious when it comes to some of the things, because I know the majority of my listeners are black males. You tell me what you've experienced in the past as far as that, right? You know, might this have ended just there with the intoxicant smell, you know, so on and so forth. But let's continue.
I got 2 kids.
Yeah.
She just had in here, she just spilled it on my floor.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, so I mean, I'll let you work on the insurance, and then I'll just do my side of things, and we'll get you home, okay? Alrighty.
I'll let you work on the...
Upon providing dispatch with Shala's name, they advised she had a misdemeanor warrant through La Crosse County. She was also currently out on 2 bonds.
License status: suspended, black, female, wanted person.
52, I did my driver. Can you stay in the car, please?
Can you hurry up?
I'm trying.
I'm trying to go home. I have a daughter at home.
I'm trying. I'll get you out of here, okay?
Eventually, Shala exited her vehicle and confronted the officer, telling him to speed up the process.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. When is the last time that you yelled out the window at a cop who's pulled you over and told him to hurry the hell up because you got things to do? I just want to know. I want to know what happened to you the last time you tried to pull that, right? Let's go.
Okay. George, or Shala. Shala, I'm trying to get your stuff done. I'm just trying to get your stuff done here, okay? So you getting out of the car is only making it longer.
You got a speeding ticket. Don't take 30 minutes for that. I've had him.
Dude, look. She's yelling first that he's taking too long. Then she gets out the car. She the one that already has a warrant. I just want to know when's the last time you as a black male have had that experience where you can have this much conversation going on with this much entitlement, you know, not concerned at all that you might be thrown over a hood and taken to jail, right? And the inconvenience of that, right? Even if you're able to get out relatively fast, drop the money to get out on bail, all of that kind of stuff, to have this much entitlement, how long? I mean, how long has it been since the last time you've seen a situation like that happen with you? You tell me.
It hasn't been 30 minutes, I promise you that.
Bro, it's taken like 45 minutes for this right now.
Okay, you want to go sit back in the car for me?
No, bro. Like, literally, hurry up, bro.
I'm trying.
I'm
okay?
not doing shit. I went 5 over because of my fucking speedometer, bro. I can't afford to get that fixed. I'm a single mom of 2, bro.
I'm not,
I don't
okay.
got shit else to do, bro.
Alright, can you go sit in the car?
Yo. She's yelling at the cop. And like I told you, this dude is probably the nicest cop I'd have ever heard of. He's over here talking about, I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. So a couple of years ago, excuse me, I developed a concept I call the black male dual economy. And basically what it means is that black men functionally live in a different social, political, and economic economy, right? All together. Whole different economy. We function a whole different way. And it isn't out of cowardice. It isn't out of fear. It's out of rational strategy. In other words, what do I need to do to make sure I can get home to my kids? What do I need to do to make sure the people that depend on me can eat? This is not that. But let's continue.
For me, please.
Please hurry up, because I'm
trying.
not trying to do this right now.
I know.
I got an entire license. I got full coverage insurance, everything, bro. I'm not trying to play with you, dude. You trying to do too much. Can you follow me home up the street 1 block?
No, we have to stay here for now, okay?
No, you're doing too much, bro. We can go up the street 1 block. I have my daughter with my mom right now.
I know, okay.
I tried to drop off my friend, her drunk ass, bro.
I gotcha. Can you go sit in the car for me? And I will try to get your stuff done.
What else? Because my license ain't expired, nothing, bro. What's up?
Okay, can you go sit in the car for
What's
me?
up? What's up?
Go sit in the car.
No, what's up?
Go to jail if you don't.
For jail for
49
what, bro?
years,
I'm asking what's going on because he's taking too long. He's taking 30 years.
Go sit in the car. You're gonna get a disorderly issue.
For what, though? That's what I'm saying, bro. He's taking too long for no reason. I don't even want to come this close to you. Every time I touch the beat, every time.
Yeah, she's just out of the car yelling and stuff, but she's not gonna be too happy. So you want to sit in the car?
Fair use. But this is what I'm talking about, right? This is what I mean. You're literally seeing the black male dual economy. Imagine a black male getting out of the car, first yelling out of his window at a cop that he's taking too long, getting out of the car and approaching the cop sitting in his car checking on your documentation while you and the cop both know you have a warrant. Then you begin yelling at the cop about how long he's taking. Now, on the phone, if I remember correctly, she's talking to her mother, and her mother is telling her, you're about to get arrested. And she's yelling at her mother and the cop. Now, we can raise questions about whether or not there's some mental issues. She could have just had a bad day. This could be an ongoing psychological issue with her. But my point is in the difference in treatment, not in the difference in her motivations for her behavior, but the difference in how she's treated. And what that means when we start to look at and examine the Black experience as it relates to racism, as it relates to dealing with law enforcement. The difference in treatment is quite dramatic. So here we go.
Just her. Alright, so Shala, you have a warrant, okay?
For what? I'm on bond. Yes, I know that.
Yeah,
I have
but
court.
you have a local 99.
A local 99? What is that?
It's a local warrant, I apologize.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, can you step out of the car?
No, can you tell me what that is?
Wait. Did he just apologize that she had a warrant? Did he just apologize? Now, he opened the door. He's going to do what he got to do. But he apologized while she's yelling at him. You see what I mean? This is the entitlement that we're talking about. And such entitlement only comes about, even if it's a psychological episode, for the most part, because this is not the only person we've seen this with. This is not the only one. We've seen this kind of thing because when you live in a society where repercussions are rare, right? We done seen cases, and again, I've been mentioning this in the last week. Go to Pink Book Lessons. Look at the last couple of weeks where she's had episode after episode of family court where the wives, the women in those cases, the mothers or baby mamas, whatever you want to call them, are yelling at the judges, and the judges are taking it and being quiet. The men are sitting there in military silence, right? Because they know that the repercussions for them will be far different than it will be for women. So women are able to act out in ways that men can't fathom much of the time, because these women already know that they're not going to pay the same toll that men pay, most particularly Black men. And this is why I call it the Black male dual economy. It's not just an economy of financial in regard to the finances. That is a part of this, but it's also the tax. It's also the impact of all these different experiences, right? Because we can even go back in time. We can ask the question, if you have a brother who's willing to do this, it stands to reason he's been out of pocket before this. Where would he be in his life compared to a woman who tends to be out of pocket? Is there a difference in how far we can go? Is there a difference in what options are made available to us versus others, right? Here we go.
It is absolutely not. Mom, can you come get me?
52,
Because they
what
trying
is
to
the
take me to
warrant
jail
for?
for nothing. You guys slammed me on my face, and yes, I tweaked out because they slammed me on my face downtown on Oktoberfest when
Okay.
somebody else was fighting.
Hey,
somebody
Shala,
else.
Shala, so it sounds like your warrants are just for failure to appear. Okay.
I don't know what, they didn't tell me to appear to anything.
Okay. Can you just step out of the car?
No. No. Mom, what the f you mean, Shayla?
Let me talk to the officer.
No, come get me now.
All right.
I just want to let you know before we continue, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Can you please step out of the car for us?
Hey,
Stop.
don't do that.
52 vehicle just took off, not pursuing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She just drove off, in case you didn't know. In the middle of that. Word.
10-4, I still have her ID, so 10-4, whatever her return says. 10-4, whatever her return says.
After scanning the area for Shala's vehicle, it was located running with no one inside.
Did she hit you? She just jumped up on the curb.
No, my other half right here just woke me up from sleeping and said that somebody just hit my truck, and I'm like, excuse me? I mean, it's literally just a little scratch. I don't give a shit. She's like, somebody, like, she said that it was hard hit. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounded a lot worse than it was.
Yeah, I mean, she had to have smacked the curb here.
I just came out here because I seen that.
That's her friend there.
So just in case you're not aware, she grazed her neighbor's car, right? His wife woke him up. He went to check on it. Barely anything there. Let's see what's happened to some of the other surrounding property.
She's going in to talk to her, so we'll see. If she don't come out, I'll just write up a warrant. Hey, Sarge, it's Carol. So she's at her house. Her friend is going in to speak to her. I mean, she's took off on the stop, about hit a car across the street. I was smelling alcohol on her. She has a no drink and a no bar. She told me she was at George Street Pub.
Did you tell her that she had the warrant, or?
Yeah, I told her. That's what, I mean, she was like getting out of the car when I was doing her paperwork, and oh boy. I think she was hitting stuff on the way over here too, so.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, yep.
Police spoke with her mother outside as Shala refused to exit the residence. It appeared she had also struck a parked car that belonged to her mother.
Hey there.
That's my car.
That's your car there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's some damage on the side of it over there.
That's okay.
Well, we'll still do like a accident report just so you can give that information to your insurance.
Now we're about to see what she did to her mother's car, but I just want you to be clear because I want to confirm that you didn't mishear that. She refused to leave the house. Now, see, this is the thing. if this were some type of activist situation where, you know, something like some Asada Shakurish kind of shit jumping off the Black Panthers, that would be one thing. She actually told the police officer she left a pub when he said he smelled intoxicants. Now, I've seen women get out of tickets who have been drinking all night simply because they smiled, they looked cute. I've literally been on the phone with girlfriends who were pulled over and they were drinking before they got in the car and were pulled over by police officers who smelled intoxicants and let them go. I ain't known too many brothers that ain't gotten away with any of that. I just want to be clear. But yeah, she said she wasn't coming out. Let's see what she did to her mother's car.
Company. Yeah.
Car.
I was trying to stay, keep her calm and stay calm.
Yeah, I know. I heard you. I heard you.
When the mother isn't even mad, she's commiserating with the police officer because he ain't do nothing out of line. The mother is calm as hell. Her car then got damaged in all of this, right? She's not even mad.
You aren't.
I mean, even if she just talks to me through like a door so I can get her statement of how this happened, that way I don't have to cite her for hit and run.
I mean,
he's still trying not to arrest her, asking if he can cite her through the door and if the mother will help with that. Now, mind you, this is the same girl that was just screaming at her mother a minute ago before she drove off on the cop. So let's continue.
she has a warrant.
How much is the warrant?
It's a misdemeanor warrant. I don't know what the bond is. 52. What's the bond on Shell's warrant? So the bond is $750 for that warrant. Also, I understand she was scared and she's got a lot going on, but she can't take off from a stop like that either. So
she knows that too.
She's making it worse for herself.
Yeah.
She just
The moment we don't take care of it.
Her mother went inside and eventually convinced her to come out.
Stop knocking on my f***ing door. You ain't got no warrant.
She just said, stop knocking on my fucking door. You don't have a warrant. I just want you to know you actually did hear that. I just really want you to be aware that you did hear that. That wasn't a tape. That wasn't an old whatever, playing in the background. She actually said that. Just so you know.
You can arrest me down the stairs because you're not going to do it in front of my child.
All right.
Excuse me. Go down there.
You coming down?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
For some that's not my fault. You slammed me on my f***ing face for another fighting. I don't give a
Okay.
You don't. No.
Put your hands on
I'm
your
going
back.
in the car. Let's go.
Stop.
No, we don't have to stop. Go
Yes,
to
you
the
do.
car. Go to the
Shayla,
car because your
relax
kid
for
is
me.
watching. My child is watching.
Your kid is
Please, I don't
upstairs.
care what that. No, I don't care what that bitch is saying. Please go towards the car. Please. I'm not doing that. Please go
Shayla,
towards the car.
just put your
I'm
hands
not
on her
having my
back.
child watch.
She's not.
Go
she's not
towards.
looking at
I'm
you.
not. Not.
Okay.
I don't want to be next to my house. Please go to my
Shayla,
car.
put your hands on
Go
her
to
back.
my. No.
Put your hands on your back.
No. If you're not going to,
Stop.
I don't care. I don't give a f. If you're not going to do what I say for some shit I didn't do,
Stop.
you already slammed me on my face. You weird ass white people. I hate white people.
Okay.
I hate white
We're
people. I
trying
hate
to be
you.
cool about
I hate
this.
you. I don't care. You're not cool. You're not cool. You're weird. You're white. And you're white. And you think you have power. You fucking $18 an hour ass.
I don't know how many of you guys were here last year when BGS and I think eventually Officer Faulkner came up. I think Green Gorilla might have been on. And we were looking at a case, I believe, in Atlanta of a black woman who was being arrested by a black male cop who wasn't acting wholly different from this. Wasn't acting very much different from this right here. She was amazed at the audacity these police had for arresting her. Who are they to do anything to her? She can do whatever she wants. This is the kind of entitlement we're talking about. But my point in raising this question and raising the issue of the black male dual economy is, what kind of tax do you pay for being a black male? How far could you get in a scenario where you're pulled over coming from a bar with liquor on your breath and a warrant, and you're yelling at the cops about how long they're taking? You didn't come home, you didn't crash your mother's car, hit your neighbor's car, gone in the house, told the police that you're not coming out, cussed at your mother about the fact that you're not coming out. And then when you do come out, because the police have clearly showed up, you're going to yell at them about how they're arresting you. I just want to know how often you guys have seen that take place with black males. Because again, what I've been told for years, especially by members of BLM, is that black men and women are treated the same by the cops. We're all under duress. We're all under fire. We're treated the same. That's what I've heard. I've had debates with members of BLM about this very issue. And they told me black men and women are seen the same way by the police. We are all seen as a threat. We're all treated the same. Word? Is that the case? Because the second concept I want to talk about as we go through this is one by Dr. Tommy Curry, and that is racism as misandric aggression. In other words, the most severe and obvious forms of racism, especially those that threaten one's life, tend to be drawn toward the men. So in one vein, we're talking about, the most, intense forms of racism, that cost life, tend to be drawn toward the men. And at the same time, what's the kind of tax that black men pay simply for existing? And one of the ways to measure that is to ask yourself how much of this you could have got away with. How long would this whole situation have taken had it been you sitting in that car and not her? But let's continue.
Weird ass bitch, you have no power. You have no power. None. That's why I'm already.
She's calling them bitches. She's talking about how she hates white people. This is interesting.
Suing this entire police officer, whatever I'm suing all of you. I was spitting your face. Hurry the up. Hurry up.
All right,
you already have me.
Go.
Hurry up. Hurry up. You already have me. What the did you
We
punch
have to
me
lock
in
your
the face?
handcuffs.
You already locked them.
No.
Hurry up. Hurry up.
Take this one.
Hurry up, bro. No, because I have kids, you don't. Okay. You don't. I can look in your eyes and you don't. You don't got going on for yourself. Nothing.
All right.
Nothing. Go to on, bro. Weird ass. You guys get bullied in high school and go to be a police officer. Y'all ain't doing shit for nothing. Nobody. Nothing. Lacrosse. You think you're doing something for somebody? You're not. You're not doing anything to nobody. A little 18-year-old that got killed, you're not doing nothing for him. He's still dead, and motherfuckers blame black people. Weird ass. No, dumbass, take me in the car so I can go get bailed out. Come on. I have leggings on. I have leggings on. You don't see shit, there ain't shit, dumbass.
He's a dumbass because she has leggings on. Now, I've seen this happen with people that have justifiable psychological issues. I mean, justifiable in the sense that this has been documented, diagnosed. I've seen similar occurrences with people who just had a bad day and snapped. But I can tell you, especially when it came to black men, whether they had a bad day or an ongoing psychological issue, this was not the kind of treatment that they got. It was not the kind of treatment that they or any other black man I know would expect them to get from police officers in this situation. Hell, half the time, if he got beat down at this point for doing all of this, there's a lot of brothers that'd be nodding their head like, well, yeah, you kind of deserved it. She's yelling at the cops because of how they're arresting her, because she has leggings on. And keep in mind, when she came out of the room, she was yelling at them and telling them, directing them that they weren't going to arrest her in front of her child. Whatever arbitrary line she drew in the sand on that one. And they, anyway.
Be real. Be for real. Be for real, though.
We've been more than cool with you, okay?
I don't give a I'm not your people, bro. Come on. Hurry up.
It has nothing to do with that.
I don't give a It don't got to do with that. You and your people. I don't like your kind. Real shit. So hurry up. That's all you guys ever do. You don't give a about nobody. You ain't never get. I'm trying to help you, Shelly. You ain't never tried to help me. Hurry up. Close the door. Close the door. I don't need no nothing. I don't need no safety, bitch. I don't need no safety, ho. Hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. What the is y'all mediating for? Hurry up. Hurry up. People got lives, dumbass. I got a job. I got to do, stupid ass. You're literally taking unnecessary ass time. it's cool. I'm gonna grab myself up out of this. Can you hurry the f up? Because I got bail money. So I'm ready.
I want you to be very clear about what you just saw, which I know was probably not easy to see. She's handcuffed in the back of the car. She got out of the car, still in handcuffs, to continue to yell at them at how long it's taken them to arrest her. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I don't think I've ever seen a brother in handcuffs in the back of a police car who gets out to yell at the cops about how long it's taking them to arrest her. Wow. Now, the last time I was amazed like this, I remember it was a black woman activist who casually called me one day to say that she was planning to go to a protest and she was getting ready to get arrested. She was purposely going to get arrested. And then she recounted how afterwards she would get out, come home, cook dinner for her kids and do this and that. She hired a sitter to watch her kids until about 5 p.m. So this is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. She had the sitter who was going to be with her till about 5 p.m. And then she was going to come home, cook dinner. And she gave me the rest of what she was planning to do for the rest of the night. And here's the trip. It happened just like that. She got arrested. She went to jail. She got, booked or whatever, got out, went home, sent the babysitter home and cooked dinner for her kids. When's the last time you were able to get away with something like that? When's the last time you could predict you were going to purposely get arrested, but you knew you were going to be home that night to take care of your kids? You tell me the last time that happened with you. So she just got out the car in cuffs to yell at the cops.
Ready to go. I'm ready to go. This is unnecessary ass. You got me arrested for some other ass fight. Bro, this is pissing me off. I hate white people because they always profiling the out of me. I've been here my entire life. Y'all see another black person do some she's black. She's dangerous. She's black. She's ignorant. She's dangerous. That's her right there. She's dangerous. Ain't that how you feel, Mr. Officer? Ain't that how you feel?
No, it is not.
Yes, it is how you feel. It is how you feel. Y'all slammed me on my face because somebody else was fighting, right? That's why I have a warrant, right? Because you guys slammed me on my face because somebody else was fighting, right? Yeah, right? Y'all don't give a f*** about us. You ain't never gave a f*** about us. You ain't never gave a f*** about us, especially you. I'm a nerd to you. I'm a f***ing nerd. You come up I can give a f*** about me.
When I pulled you over, okay, I was very calm with you.
I understand that, but I'm scared of police officers because of what they did to me.
Okay, and I'm sorry for what happened.
So she's scared of police officers because of what they did to her, and she's crying. And he's apologizing. I'm not mad that he's apologizing. I'm indifferent to this in reality. My question, though, is what would happen to you? And for the brother who was pointing out the difference in being arrested at a protest, here's the thing. Just to be clear, black men that I've known who were activists, who were planning to get arrested, didn't expect to be out at 5 p.m. As a matter of fact, many of them didn't know when they would be out. And I've known brothers who ended up spending over a month in jail over technicalities they couldn't control, even though they were getting arrested at a protest. Right? I've known men who lost jobs, who've lost apartments, all because of that. So, I mean, the assumption that you're going to get through this system without a problem, very different for black men.
So you have some citations coming as well for driving while suspended, the speed.
I'm not suspended. Why is it saying that?
I don't know.
I keep paying them. Why do they keep? They were. I keep fixing that. They keep fucking me over, bro. I've been paying this for 4 years, man. Oh my god. I hate being black. I hate this. Everything I do is wrong. Everything.
So
I'm not a drug addict.
I'm just gonna explain this.
I'm not a crackhead. I'm not a
you have a citation for unreasonable and imprudent speed. The cost is $136.
I was going
60 cents.
5 over the speed limit, if anything, because of my speedometer is off.
Okay, but when you took off from the stop?
From a stop. You guys said that from when I left my house. You said that I sped off from my own house and that I was a drug dealer. And then you said that I robbed somebody from down the street.
Citation for operating while suspended.
I don't give a
$24.
Blah, 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 I don't hear shit. liar, bro.
You have no citation for speeding.
You're a liar. You're a liar.
And she then shifted from crying and kicking her feet back to yelling. I'm just saying. I think it's interesting. I don't think that I've ever seen or imagined this. And we've heard cases in the last 6 months alone where you have men with mental disorders, all kinds of different issues, who were killed for far less than this. And I'm not saying she should be killed. That's not my point. I'm merely drawing a line and illustrating the difference. Because hey, look, if you can find videos of Black men who've had this experience and survived, please send them. I'd love to see it. But my question is, to what extent do Black men who even have issues expect to survive this kind of encounter? Here we go.
I don't hear all my kids. I don't hear blah, blah, blah. I don't hear you can read everything. I don't give a
citation.
Bring me outside. Bring me outside. Bring me outside. Hello. Bring me outside. I don't care. 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 I hate white people. I hate them. That's why you're laughing, because you're white. Because you're white people. White people always got something to laugh about. White people.
Shala was charged with felony fleeing eluding an officer, misdemeanor counts of resisting, obstructing an officer, disorderly conduct, and bail jumping. She was later released on a $1,000 signature bond. Head over to Code Blue.
Okay. Okay. Y'all tell me. $1,000 bond. That makes sense? Would you get $1,000 bond if you acted out that way? Come on up if you want to. Share your thoughts. Like I said, I'm not going to be on here long, just for a little while, but this is not something shit. Wow. I'm still tripping. $1,000 bond for all of that. That's it. So when I posted this, what I actually wrote about this, right? I said, when I talk about the black male dual economy, I'm talking about how Black men pay a tax above and beyond others simply for existing. Put differently, how would Black men fare if they got pulled over, got out of the car, yelled at the cops for taking too long, argued with the cops, drove away halfway through the stop, went home, damaged other people's cars while parking, yelling at the cops to come get you, then after being handcuffed and out into a car, getting out of the car, right, to yell at the cops some more, then getting out of the back of the car while yelling. I mean, and then they get released on $1,000 bond. So when we talk about Dr. Tommy Curry's notion of racism as misandric aggression, what we're talking about is the difference in treatment. And this is what I was saying when I did my Martin Luther King holiday show. I was saying, when you talk about the Black experience, we've talked about everything under the sun, from racism to classism to sexism to every other ism you can fathom. But the one thing we haven't talked about is the bifurcated treatment of Black men and women in regard to the state, and the use of that treatment to not only split up the family and the community, but to buy many Black women off, and the extent to which many Black women are satisfied with being bought off in such fashion. This has drawn a serious line in the sand, but here's the thing. Nobody wants to talk about this. Nobody, at least until the last few years, few would deign to even talk about it, especially in the academy. Nobody talks about this. So as we draw more attention to it, and we start to see the difference in how Black men and women are treated, and Black men are starting to come to grips with how that difference in treatment has been weaponized by some of the very Black women that are supposed to love them, wives, girlfriends, sometimes even mothers, so on and so forth. To have that kind of treatment be weaponized against you simply because it can be. Knowing full well, when she calls in a false charge of abuse because she's upset with you, that's what I'm talking about when I say weaponized against you. And this case indicates, it shows us straight out the difference in treatment. That's what I'm talking about here. When I saw this video, I couldn't decide if I would, I was caught between laughing my ass off and dropping a tear when I thought about just how many black men I've known in the last 20 years who've called me to tell me stories about how this law enforcement system, or hell, the court system, was used against them arbitrarily, simply on a whim. Sometimes it was because she was mad at him. Other times she just wanted to flex and let him know who was in control of the relationship. When you have a law enforcement system that will treat black men and women this differently, it's ridiculous. Shout out to Afro Nerd. What's good, man?
What's up, Doc? Can you hear me?
Hold on. Let me 1 second. Okay, there you go. How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay.
Man, talk to me, man.
I just tripped on your channel. You know, I'm always looking out for you and getting your wisdom. And I'm looking at this thing, and I've always thought that there was kind of a leaning on the femininity, even with black women. You know, like there's this perception, and it's still being put out there on mainstream media, where the flat blackness that you spoke about. Shout out to Yvette Carnell. Actually, that's the first time I heard her actually exclaim that term, and I knew exactly what she meant. But I encountered this a couple of years ago. Could not necessarily describe it,
right?
Because when you're trying to have a conversation, and this is not to all sisters, but to some, especially with that feminist tilt, when you try to explain to them that, hey, wait a minute, you know, black men have a different experience, you get shouted down, and you're consistently being told that no, you're just black. We're all black. It's everything is just the same. And I've called up shows on mainstream just recently on Sirius XM. I spoke to an attorney. She has her own show, Lori Favors.
Okay.
And she was talking about, you know, the kind of mild controversy with the Rihanna cover with A$AP Rocky.
Right.
And it's very dismissive when you speak about this woman holding her, you know, standing out in front, and it's not her husband, her boyfriend is in back, in kind of a feminine positioning. So when I was trying to explain what was going on, you know, it's just dismissed. Men leave, you know, men just leave the neighborhood. And I mean, everything is just kind of matter of factly, and you're cut off. And this is the way that these kind of discussions go.
Right.
And what you were doing, and what other folks from the manosphere, if you want to call that, or new black men's media, it's a different universe. So when I'm looking at this altercation with this woman, and again, this is, you would think, the purview of a white woman. Now we are really seeing a kind of sorrow thing going on. She got a lot. I mean, spewing expletives,
right?
Bringing up race where it doesn't apply. I mean, she clearly screwed up royally, and that's the end of the conversation. So it's pretty rough to look at.
Well, I want to clarify something. When you brought up flat blackness earlier, you know, because I always forget. Sometimes I get new people, and I forget to, you know, kind of explain what the concept of flat blackness, as I first heard it, came from ADOS, and that was Yvette Carnell, Antonio Moore, and they were talking more about you have immigrants, African, Caribbean. They're talking about lineage, and they were suggesting that there are times when blackness is flattened in terms of lineage, and you can't really tell the difference between who's African, who's Jamaican, who's, you know, or ADOS or African American, right? And so all of that is flattened, and you see instances where even at universities will claim that they have upped their numbers of black students, but what they don't tell you is that the majority of those students are everything but ADOS. So they were talking about flat blackness in a particularly lineage-based context. What I'm talking about, where I talk about flat blackness, I'm adding another dimension to it. I talk about the ways in which you can actually see feminists in particular, like members of BLM, that will take statistics on the black experience and they will flatten them to make them about black people. But when you actually go into the weeds, you find out how many of the most serious issues that we take seriously actually tilt far more to men than women. And those issues are flattened when it's convenient most particularly to feminist activists, and it's only drawn out and separated and disaggregated when it's useful, to women, right? So that's kind of what we see. Black men's experiences are used when it's useful, and everything is just black. But when we get particular into the weeds, it's only relevant if it's black women and girls or LGBT, and you find that heterosexual black men and boys are just kind of trotted out when convenient and then put back, in the background when they're not. This is how people can use our numbers in a variety of ways. So that's what I meant by flat blackness, and that's what Afro Nerd was referencing. Let me also add Detect up on the screen. Detect,
Hey, hello. Yeah,
hey,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I feel good. The one thing that I saw that video was just really disheartening is that the absolute childish behavior that was just condoned by everyone around the situation. It's like, it's funny, but it's also sad. How did we get to this position? That's my question, is how did we get here that when you have someone acting this way and just, look at like, okay, if anyone else looked at that way, be like, wait, this is not suitable behavior for any group or anything else, that will be shut down. This would be like, what are you doing? What is this? And she has a child too. I'm like, is this what lessons are she teaching this child? Because I remember the old saying, I don't know who said this, but I think it's so true, that the mother is the first teacher of culture. And what type of culture is this mother teaching her child?
Well, somebody earlier,
because it's
hold on. So somebody earlier in the chat, and forgive me, I don't recall who it was, so shout yourself out if you choose to. Somebody earlier in the chat said, technically, this is how everybody should be treated by the cops, meaning you should get a wide berth. And I remember at another point in time, a few years ago, I can't recall who said it, but somebody was also pointing out that the way white women are treated is kind of how people in general should be treated by the police. But what we find is when it comes to black men, most particularly, there's not a lot of grace. There's not a lot of room, and there's damn sure no room for this shit. Right? There's no room for this. Most black men know that if you go this, we've heard the concept of suicide by cop, right? The only brothers I know that would pull something like this are brothers who either have a serious psychological break or are trying to commit suicide by cop, meaning that they're going into the situation knowing that this kind of behavior will likely lead to the end of their lives. Right? Did she have any sense whatsoever that this might be a problem for her, that she might lose her life, that she might have been beaten up? Did it seem to cross her mind at all?
I think she was expecting it. I think that she was expecting her to beat, to basically lay her out and everything, she expected that she got, I can get some money off of this, that's what I feel like. It's just maybe I'm just crazy, and I don't know, because it seemed like she was just further antagonizing this whole thing, because it's just like she was antagonizing, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did something. Next thing you know, I can cut up the footage and say I was assaulted, and I can have Benjamin Crump just drive up to her and give billions of dollars or whatever, millions of dollars for a lawsuit and everything, and that's it. It just seems like that's type of a Powerball, a lottery.
Let's get Afro Nerd to weigh in. You were about to say something. Sir.
Yeah, what I was going to say is I hope that your listeners peep the entitlement, and I hate to connect the dots this way, but I ingest, probably like you gentlemen, a lot of media and also what you see on the street. This is not everybody. This is an anecdotal statement, but the way that young woman conducted herself and the immediate entitlement, you knew it was completely crazy world, a different situation where she says, okay, listen, this is how you're going to arrest me. Once I heard that, I was done. I was done. So, that is kind of a stereotyped black woman ish, right? But that we've seen that. Look, I was cracking jokes, Doc. I don't know, you probably saw it. I crack jokes. I thought she might be related to Professor Crump, because Professor Crump kind of throws the weight around that. I'm just saying, she, you know, you're starting to see the posturing and the deportment of even the educated feminists. This is how it's going to go down. Where there's no compromising. When I spoke to the attorney on her serious show, you know, she pretty much told me, well, you know, whatever you say, I don't care about your stats or your data. This is how it's going to go. It's like, okay.
See, I'll agree with Duquette to this point. I do think she was trying to turn this into a racial issue. She may have even thought of, you know, trying to monetize the situation. The problem she ran into is, aside from the fact that she was the one that had been drinking, that she was the one that, look, you know, even if I've been pulled over for going 1 mile an hour over the speed limit, right? You know, at the end of the day, if you give them a reason and they're going to pull you over, they're going to pull you over. But she's the one that initiated a lot of this. She's the one that drove off. She's the one that yelled at the cops, so on and so forth. She initiated all of that. The second problem she had is she just happened to run into the nicest cops in the damn world.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
How you gonna apologize to her for having a warrant? He was like, I'm sorry.
You know what she reminds me of? I'm dating myself now.
Okay.
Otis the drunk in the Andy Griffith show.
Oh my.
Where everybody would he's the town drunk. He was a town drunk, and Barney Fife would always religiously on time, nicely and calmly put the town drunk in his jail cell. It's just an understanding, and she almost received that level of treatment. So I just want to know how can we? I mean, when you present this, like, you know, I hope this particular video goes viral. But when you actually put this out there and say, look, this is like a really clear example. I mean, since when have you ever seen a black man receive that kind of, you know, cordial behavior from the police? I mean, you're never going to see that. But this is a black woman. She cursed him out, brought up race when it didn't apply, hit people's cars. I mean, I don't know, Doc. She's got a superpower.
It's insane. It's insane. And
this is the kind of cop.
And I like the fact that you
hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. This is the kind of cop, right, that you damn near want to go out and have lunch with.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of respect. You
can tell him your life problems and he'll work them out with you. God damn. What does it take?
Exactly. Even the mother of the child. Oh, go ahead. I was like, the mother of the woman, she was just used to it. She's like, yeah, she just goes off. And that was it. Like, she can't, like, I'm done.
Well,
that was the whole thing.
Wait a minute. You know, that's deferring to our doctor here. That's kind of sort of a franchise matriarchal thing going on there, isn't it? You know, where the mother kind of know, you know, she's in on it. Everything's cool. You know, you got the whole matriarchal structure franchised, as you said a few months ago, where this behavior, you know, the mother she's in collusion with her child's behavior, her daughter's behavior. Everything is kind of cool.
She's an enabler, huh?
Right. The mother's not, you know, she's not tripping, and, you know, again, it is what it is. I wanted to say something else too. Oh man, you know, I lost. Okay, continue. I lost my train of thought.
Will Smith has me dying. Look, he said this sets the fight against police brutality back 20 years.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. You know, I mentioned this to you before, that, you know, I'm always a kind of a hopeful thinker. I mean, I do have hope. I don't like to be a nihilist, but I'm listening to a lot of Jason Whitlock, and, you know, we can contrast and contour with what he's about.
Right.
But I think he's pretty much on board with New Black Men's Media. Everything, your talking points. I mean, he's fully involved now, and he's calling out, really separating ourselves. You know, kind of creating a situation where black men are up front and out front speaking. He's got more young black men coming into his fold. He reached out to Angry Man. You know, all these connections are kind of coming to fruition, and I think it's good to see. But he's bringing up the passport bro phenomenon, and also Obsidian. You might have mentioned this. He showed like they have, for the lack of a better word, passport hoes in quotes that are doing some pretty, severe things, far worse than what they're claiming black men are doing overseas.
But back up. Did he and Valdez get together and do something? Did I miss something?
They did a show together. They did a show.
Oh man,
yeah,
I missed all of that.
He was on maybe a week and a half ago, and I mean he also did a collaboration with Anton Daniels, but Anton Daniels I thought was asking him to apologize. He was a little compromised, but the way that he was fully in Angry Man's pocket, and he even invited Angry Man to come on his platform. So that's on YouTube. That's about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, I've seen Whitlock in the last I want to say couple of years, and he's dropped some videos here and there, and I'm like, wow, like he is clearly listening. But I did not know that he had actually started having conversations with brothers. So that's great. But no, the thing about it is this is going more and more mainstream, this dialogue, and I'm seeing black men speaking up in ways that I've never seen in my lifetime. I have absolutely never seen, and they're pushing back against things going on in society. They're pushing back against things going on in the black community to a degree that I've never seen. And it really lights me up to see it, because I'm finding that, I don't got to be the first voice to address some of these things. I'm seeing brothers on every level that are starting to, which does me good. But I also want to just point out how differently black male life is. Because keep in mind, when we saw what happened with Tyree Nichols the other week, right, where you have these black cops who engage in this behavior, they kill this man. How quickly were they arrested? How quickly did all of this happen compared to what we see with white cops? So what I'm saying though is whether you're talking about a situation like we watched tonight, where the difference in how a black woman can engage the police versus black men, or a situation where black men are the police initiating violence, right? In either scenario, you see is a difference in treatment. Like I can't tell you how many white cops I've seen who have abused and or killed somebody, and you have to wait sometimes months to find out what happens to this individual. Those cops got caught up quick. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have. I'm simply saying there's a difference in treatment. Right?
Well, did you hear about I thought I sent it to you, the Michael Irvin story where he's suing a Marriott for $100 million because a young woman, he had a conversation in full public view that they actually have on video, a conversation about nothing.
Right.
And whether she's trying to be, whether there's chicanery going on, or she really believes in her mind that the conversation was lascivious, it did not happen. It was too many people, too many witnesses, and I think something happened to him where he was taken off from participating in the Super Bowl. So when that happened, I mean, her words got him out of a gig, basically.
Exactly.
Even though there's video evidence as well as witnesses by probably 15 people in a room that said nothing happened. It was like a 10-minute conversation, and in that conversation, this woman felt that she was, sexually assaulted in some way.
But let's also be clear, when we say, got him out of a gig, in reality, it very well could have ended his career.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? Just arbitrarily. And this is something that many men are commenting about, how easily their whole career can be ended. And I've seen this with professors, right, who spent at least a decade just working on the doctorate. We're not even talking about the masters or the bachelors. You can spend up to a decade working just on the doctorate and have their entire careers to the point where they can't teach anymore, upended by a faceless person that doesn't even have to come forward. There doesn't even have to be critical evidence, especially if it's conducted on campus, whatever the review situation is. And he's actually barred from his career because anywhere else he tries to go, they're going to want to reach out to his last employer. So I'm seeing this happen in the academy. I'm seeing it happen in the corporate world. I'm seeing it happen in entertainment, media. It's happening in so many different spaces. So I applaud Irvin actually filing a lawsuit. I think that black men have to become more litigious about responding to these things. So if you're going to end a career, I better damn well have done what I'm accused of, and you need to have evidence, because you shouldn't just be able to arbitrarily end somebody's, career simply because. That's way too much power for people to abuse, which I do believe has been happening for decades as far as the overall, ability to use institutions at whim to attack men, most particularly black men.
Well, the funny thing is that, going back a couple of years ago, many people made fun of former VP Mike Pence for
Yeah.
his personal rule.
Yeah.
And the last, I'd say, 3 years, they're not making fun. Now you hear a lot of people deferring to what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he doesn't sound crazy at all.
Oh man, funny. The funniest thing I remember when somebody first told me about Pence, Mike Pence rules. It was actually a feminist who was incensed that he wouldn't, that he was doing this thing where he wouldn't sit down and have meals or meetings private with women without his wife present. And they were telling me, and I think it was a couple of the cast that I was standing with, about this issue. And the funniest part is she was incensed. We all were going, oh, that's actually a good point. You know what I mean? And which, of course, pissed her off even more. But the reality of that, right? This is in response to how men are actually experiencing the workplace, how they're experiencing all of this thing all these things have a direct impact, and people want to act like it doesn't, right? And the other side of the argument too is you have feminists that will argue that women are not capable of frivolous or these kinds of attacks on men's careers simply because they argue that people would not do this. People would not purposely upend people's well-being simply because. And I've told stories on this very channel about wives being willing to do that to husbands, let alone somebody at work.
Right. Well, I tell you something else. I think it was on Obsidian's show when he disclosed the situation with young women in Jamaica doing all kinds of just outrageous things with young men, some of them underage young men. And I can't recollect the PhD that he showed a video of. It was a young woman. I believe she's a teacher, associate professor somewhere in New York. She wrote a book, I think in 2018. You might remember it, where she spoke about her experiences in the Caribbean. And he was juxtaposing comedically the video of this woman, handling her situation with this young man. Okay. And she was, with the professor, where she was using a lot of euphemisms to describe this kind of freedom that African American women have when they go overseas or when they go to Jamaica. And she talked about their sexual desires being explored. Like it's a lot of euphemisms for really bad behavior. And I know maybe you can explain this because you're an academic. I've been in school, obviously, as well, but I'm not an academician, right?
Okay.
And I remember when I was in school, the kind of psychobabble speak I didn't necessarily hear that I hear now. Like there's a certain way that I'm noticing some younger academics speak. It's constant references to the patriarchy that's thrown out every 2 seconds. Like it's a certain way that this woman spoke that to me, it's a lot of word salad. It's not like, it's not, and I see, Dr. Dyson does this occasionally, where it's like a new way of looking, this is a new way of a new approach to the family. Everything is kind of just the diminution of Black male presence. And the patriarchy, whatever that means, I don't know how that applies to Black men. That's just a given. So I was curious. I mean, is this something new? I see, like in the last 10 or 15 years, there's a certain lexicon that all of these liberals, Black and white, that lean in on a female-oriented viewpoint,
right,
or worldview, they all speak in the similar language. It's not straight talk to me. My father's a retired barber, so you know what I'm getting. There's a certain way that the barbershop speaks where it's very blunt. You understand it. This new speak I don't get, and it's really, to me, a mask for a lot of aberrant behavior.
Well, I think first of all, much of it evolves out of Kimberly Crenshaw's work in terms of laying down intersectionality. And what it really, to me, boils down to is what I consider to be a political coup. In other words, what you have happening is you have a branch of feminism and LGBT queer theorists who have gotten together on the basis of feminism and found a political vehicle to move in. This is what BLM fundamentally was. It was one of the most concrete forms of a political vehicle that evolved out of intersectionality. And it became an avenue for Black women to make their presence felt in the Democratic Party, to make their presence felt globally, and to do so by standing on the basically the dead bodies of Black men. All of this has political currency, right? And especially in the last few years during the pandemic, we saw some of the most extreme upheavals as far as protests going on. All of this kind of added to Black women's political weight. This is why when they demanded that that there be a VP, a vice president that was a Black woman, they were able to kind of push that through simply on the demand alone. All of this is a political opportunity. So even the language you're hearing is really just the kind of terminological justification for this political coup that's been taking place both within the Black community and in the country in general. And Black men are finding themselves on the outside, treated as enemies in their own community, at least theoretically, if not in their practical lived experience. They're experiencing this pushback that seems to frame Black men as part of some mysterious patriarchy in alignment with white men, where they enjoy power and laugh about exploiting women and LGBT. It's this ridiculous kind of formulation, even though we can look back and actually raise the question, when have we seen this oppressive patriarchy in the Black community? Right. But even still, this is the popular trope. And a lot of it, too, is also a political coup that's about jobs, especially in the academy, right? Taking over jobs that Black men have had. Now, Black men are not in the majority. They've never graduated to any higher degree from higher education than Black women, but they've been targeted at a specific point to be replaced. So I did a show last week where I talked about, even as far as a decade ago, there were 20,000 more Black female faculty in the country in higher education than there were male. I would argue that number is increased, even though I'm waiting for some data on that more particularly, but I can say based on what I'm experiencing in the academy, that's definitely the case. So you're seeing jobs being targeted, where Black men are being targeted as being passé, being out of step because they haven't fallen in line. This is why you can hear Michael Eric Dyson doing this, talking this way. It's almost like watching a 50-year-old try and fit himself into skinny jeans a while ago, just trying to show that he's still cool. This is the shit that's happening that many are trying to do to tap dance to stay relevant in an environment that's becoming increasingly hostile to scholars, most particularly to activists, to thinkers in general, who are concerned about the Black male presence in the community, in the country, and actually have genuine desire to see that quality of life improve, but they're being deemed enemies by the same demographic who is seen to be the leading light of activism in the country, right? We've been hearing this moral argument that Black women have the moral leadership to guide us into this new era. This is why the Time cover magazines and the things we've been seeing in the last couple of years that have, lionized Black women. And if they have Black men present or Black boys present, they're far in the background, if they're present at all. These kind of narratives are really pushing Black men out in a very perceivable way. And yet when we point it out, just like you pointed out with these magazine covers recently, as far as Rihanna and the other one with Jonathan Majors, we were told that we're imagining things. We're imagining things. We're being highly insecure. These things aren't happening, and to the extent that they are, you're just making an issue out of nothing. No, this is part of an organized response to exclude Black men from this political advancement that's taking place with certain demographics in the community, and they're trying to do so while using Black male experiences. This is why I talk about flat Blackness the way I do, because Black men are only relevant when they're dead and when their numbers contribute to a need politically that can be filled. This adds to the political advancement of Black women, but when Black men start to speak out and advocating for themselves, they need to shut up and take the back.
Didn't Tiffany Cross actually use that same verbiage about get in line, Black men? If we understand we might have said some things that were untoward you, but get in line. Stop listening to Tariq Nasheed and Kevin Samuels, even though God rest the dead, he's in the grave, but we're still listening to him literally. Something else I was going to mention too that you kind of tapped into with this with the notion of flat Blackness, because everything seems to be interconnected. Is that the whole hoopla with Jonathan Majors and on the cover of Ebony magazine, what you're starting to see, I think you've spoken about this too, this collusion between Black feminists and gay men. And they're insistent, especially with the Major situation, they're insistent that when it's discussed that they must conflate LGBTQ Black males with the discussion of how traditional masculinity is supposed to be, or how we would prefer for traditional masculinity to be perceived. I think it's a separate conversation. And anytime you because we can't seem to have a discussion that since 1619 Black masculinity has been compromised. This is not like an imagination. When you saw picketers in the 60s with I am a man,
yeah,
that was a clear shout out that we are not being treated as a man. So now we're supposed to forget all that history. We're talking about hundreds of years of this, and now when we have a discussion, look, there seems to be this need to feminize straight males. Where you don't see that with white males. White males have their John Wayne archetype. For some reason, we can't seem to have that.
But the difference, and this is why I go back to Tommy Curry's Racism is Misandric Aggression. He's pointing it out. This is why, if you look into the work of Sedanius, Jim Sedanius, he's talking about this very directly, that there is a very clear targeting of Black men in a very real way. I apologize to Discipline 99. He wanted to share his life story, and we're going to close down in about.
I'm going to head out, and I was going to head out, but I want to say this though. Can I say one thing?
Go ahead. Make it quick though. You got to close.
I want to say this. Oh, okay. I'm going to say that even though all that stuff artillery cross, yet the people they wanted to get in, the person they wanted to put in office, guess what? They didn't get in because of the lack of the Black male vote. That's going to be key, because there's a lot of people who are just not going to that most of them are just like saying we're done, and it's a shame because I hate it when it comes down to this, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Be strong and be safe. All right, peace.
All right, Duquette, thanks for coming up, man. Let me get your closing thoughts before we have to pull out of here, Afro Nerd, and tell people where to find you.
Yeah. We changed platforms, so we're expected to be on YouTube like you are mid-March. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
And just in closing about the whole thing, I will say, I do try to be very forward-thinking, and I am starting to see that Black men have had enough, that there is an inkling that we might be seeing light at the end of the tunnel when you're seeing Jason Whitlock, and I'm seeing a lot of other, even cross-racially, you're starting to see the kind of talking points coming clearly from the Black manosphere. So this is, look, I have nothing, you say this repeatedly, this is not about disparaging Black women. I grew up having sheroes. This is new. This is something different. This is about obfuscating what Black male needs. And for the sake of Black women moving up, we can both rise. It shouldn't be one has to be put down to move for the other to go forward.
Yeah.
We have to have a better, more sophisticated conversation. And I think it's actually happening. But like I think what you're getting at is there really is a kind of greed going on. Let's just call it what it is. It's avarice.
Yeah.
It's nothing else. It's people just trying to get a leg up, shutting you down. I'm about to get that bag, quote unquote, and you're not going to stop me. That's what's really going on. So anyway,
we got to pull out. But I will say the only reason that greed is palpable is because there's been enough access in the first place for it to be something considered worthy of pushing for. Black men have no such illusions. We don't think that we're going to get pulled over by cops after having drunk and then yell at them and expect to live. We don't come into it. We don't walk into a political party assuming we're going to be heard simply because we've started to say something. We understand that our toll is paid in blood. And that's not something that others have that viewpoint on, because their experience is very different. You know what I mean? So we'll go into that more in depth, but I do have to go teach this class. I appreciate you coming up, Afro Nerd. Shout out to you. Y'all look for his channel here on YouTube in March, you said?
March, a couple of weeks.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot.
Okay, man. Thank you, Doc. Appreciate it.
So I hope y'all are good. I appreciate you joining me tonight. I want to hear your thoughts about this. Go ahead and put them in the comment section so I can check them out later. Other than that, y'all have a good night. I will talk to y'all soon. Peace. I am here to tell you, brothers, we are not criminals by birth, perennial rapists, incapable intellects, man-children, sperm donors, child support wellsprings, success objects, walking phalluses, ATM machines, lottery tickets, unintelligent henchmen, valueless assassins, pro bono mercenaries, unpaid bodyguards, interchangeable stepfathers, child discipline proxies, unpaid repairmen, workhorses, emotional tampons, or any other socially accepted dehumanizing stereotype. We are thinkers, inventors, innovators, leaders, fathers, and men. Embrace your humanity, know your worth, and extend your time, attention, and resources only to those who genuinely respect you. And remember, your worth is not defined by meeting other people's narcissistic and selfish and unrealistic needs. You define your worth. Peace.